And we are back with part 2. So yeah, sorry about that. Actually had a bad storm come through, so I had to shut everything down, which is awesome. So is what we want to do is we actually want to take these pins, continuing on where we left off, and we're going to duplicate. So we're just going to move this up to about here. Make sure it is intersecting a little bit. And this is the fun pot. So we have this right here, which its Y is not zeroed out, so that sucks. Should be good enough. Yeah, should be fine, hopefully. So we just want to try and get this centered between this one and this one. We're going to duplicate that. We're going to move this over. And now we're actually going to select these three, duplicate. We're going to move this straight. Oops. So we actually want to select these three, duplicate, and we're just going to move straight over. Probably right about there. Duplicate again. I'm going to move these over. Right about there. And we're actually going to duplicate one more time. Oops. Oh, come on, Jimmy. I'm going to move these right over here. Okay, there we go. So I know these aren't quite lined up. That is okay, because all we have to do is just select them. We move them into position, and we're just going to scale these out. That is not what I want. So, real quickly, we're going to go to the local, and we're going to set this to local as well, I believe. Now, for this one, this is actually overlapping, which is a median point. We actually want to do individual origins, and the reason why we're choosing to do local scale is just basically because of the fact that we actually have these set up. I'm trying to think how to explain this. The best thing that the best reason I can tell you why we do local instead of doing global is, like, we could do either one, not a big deal. But we want to do local because it actually works off of our transforms. That's really the only reason. I don't know how that got set back to default, but okay. So now that we've done that, we can actually come back in here and continue working on these. Let's go ahead and select all of this. And then we'll select these cylinders as well. I'm not going to select this one just yet. Wait, am I? Let's see. No, we're not. So let's go, and we're going to come into... crap. Let me go ahead and duplicate this one, just move it out of the way for now. So we want to select all of these, not those. Not those, come on. Okay, Blender's not cooperating. Whoa! That was random. So we're going to select all of these. There we go. We're going to go to our modifiers. We're going to go to add modifier. Now we're going to use a Boolean, which is right here. We're going to select that, and is what I actually want to do right now. So I'm going to take all of these cylinders, and I'm just going to drag them underneath here. Come on. There we go. So this is outside the scene collection. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm actually going to hit, let's see, select Boolean on that one, press G. I'm just going to start selecting all of these, and all I'm doing is just pressing G, which will repeat the last step. If it already has it over there, then we skip over it like this one, and we just move on to the next one. There we go. So this object will be here. And right now it's different. So we actually want to do a union on them. And then this one will be this. This one will be union. That's weird. Okay, so this one has that. This one should be with that. Oh, wait. That's because we didn't hit apply. And so now with this one, we have a union. Go ahead and apply that as well. And then we'll click back on this one. Select that, and we're going to do union. Apply. So we're actually getting some really weird artifacting here. Is it duplicating them? It is duplicating them. Okay. So that's why. Alright, so I'm actually going to hold off on that for just a second. We're actually just going to start selecting all of these, and we're going to keep doing a difference. Basically, each time we're doing this, we're actually deleting the faces off of these. So if we... No, we're not. This one definitely needs a Boolean modifier. So the thing that I'm fighting with here is it keeps duplicating. I don't want it to. But is what we can do is... Oh, we don't need that on there. I'm actually going to select all of these. I'm going to set them all to union. And then the next thing we're going to do, or actually, I just thought of this. We can actually select all of these counterbalances. This would be an easier way of doing it. Much easier way. We like easy. We're going to go to Object after we have all the counterbalances selected, or the counterweights, I mean. Or wait, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and apply a rotation to these. So this is going to rotate like so. And we're going to come over here, make sure this is set to 180. Close, but not quite. Now we just need to move these down. And we're actually going to line these up with these over here on the side. So we can do that real simply. Okay, yep, that looks good. Now we can select them. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so with all these selected, let's go ahead and go to Object. And we're going to go down to Join. We're going to select all these cylinders here in the center. And we'll do the same thing. So now that we have all those, and we have all of these, we can actually just select this right here, and with it doing the union, then we're good. Actually get rid of that, and then we can come up here. We'll hit Apply. And we're actually going to hide this. Okay, we're going to hide this. There we go. So this is our crankshaft. Now we're having some really weird issues going on here, and the reason for this is if we go into our edge, these lines don't match up. So that's why we're getting like this weird, I don't really want to say glitchy effect, but that's basically what it is. There are multiple ways we can fix this. I'm not going to go into detail on that. Go ahead and undo the modifier. There we go. So I'm going to turn... I can actually just delete that. There we go. So, what's my train of thought? Yeah, so we could do it that way. It's a little bit of extra work. I really don't feel like doing it, so we're not. But I do want to delete the faces off of these. So we're going to go into here. We're going to press 3 on our keyboard. And we're actually going to go into the X-ray. I'm going to select way up here. I'm just going to click and drag. I don't want to get these center dots in my selection, or these center dots right here. I just want to get the outside. And the reason for that is because we are going to delete these here in just a second. So this one will come up here. This one will select these. This one will select these. This one will select these. And we'll come up here and select these. And then we're going to hit delete. We're going to say faces. So that's actually going to lower our face count. So right here we have 960 faces selected. By doing this, we're actually... Really? Wow. Give me 1 second, guys. Alright, sorry about that. Just keeping an eye on the storms. So, yeah, back to what I was saying. This will optimize a little bit more. The other advantage we have of doing it this way is that we will actually be joining all these together. We can also do different materials. So this right here will have one material, and this right here will have one material. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select this, and then we'll select this. We'll hit P. Oops. We're going to set it to object, but we want to keep the transform of it. So we're actually going to come in here. We're going to select this. We're going to go up to object, apply, and it'll be all transformed. So this will reset everything back to 0. We're also going to do the same to this. So with this one selected, I'm just going to press G to redo my last my last move, basically. And actually, I want to unparent this. Nope, don't want to parent. Oops. Where are you at? Okay, so you're going to be that much of a pain, are you? That is fine. So I'm actually going to try and have this selected. I don't know if this, well, I'm actually going to do it with this one. So let's go ahead and go to object, and we're actually going to, what's this called? I'm trying to think of what this is called. It's basically, we're going to reset its pivot. So that's what we're wanting to do right now. Oh man, that sounds bad. Yeah. Okay, anyway, so it's called set origin, and we're going to do origin to geometry. And is what we're wanting to do is make sure that this is centered, which it is not. So here's one thing I like about Maya, is you can press insert, and you can actually move this. Unfortunately in Blender that doesn't work. Wait, does this? Okay, good. Making sure that moves everything. So we actually need to... I guess I could just use a cursor for this and do it that way. That'd be a lot easier. So with this selected, I'm actually going to go into wireframe. I'm going to zoom in as close as I can to this, which is the very center of where it's going to be spinning. Closer you can get, the better. It doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be perfect, but it's there. So I'm going to set that right there. And the reason why I'm doing that, because with this object selected, is what we can do is we can go up to object, we go to set origin at 3D cursor. And so the advantage that this is going to give us is now when we rotate this, it'll actually rotate right here at this point, which is exactly what we want. So the next step is we have these pistons right here, but it's not quite right. So for all these pistons, we're actually going to select every single one of them, and we're going to press 1, and we're actually going to do a cutout. Or actually, we can do booleans with this. So we're going to select all 4, Control D, and then with all 4 selected, we need to make sure that this okay, that thunder's down awfully close. Sorry guys, let me just check the weather real quick. Okay, yeah, it's really close, but I'll live. So, let's see, where was I? Oh, yes, with this. So we want to make sure that we have individual components selected. We're actually going to rotate this 90 degrees right here on the X. It did not apply it to all of them, which is fine. This actually gives me a perfect opportunity to talk about snapping. So we're actually going to select this, make sure this is set on increment, and that rotate is selected as well. And we're going to rotate this. As you can see, it's rotating by 5-degree increments. And so now we can turn off that, press W. We're actually going to move this down where it's just about up here. So we'll go into our modifiers. We'll do a Boolean G, 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 and then we're going to select this. This one we will select this. This one we will select this, and this one we will select. There we go. We'll select that. So we have a difference, and we can actually come up here, select. Well, we can't select all of them. We can come over here and hit apply. We'll press G, G, and G. And then we can select these right here, and let's just delete those. That did not do what I wanted it to do. Why not? Don't actually know why. Yeah, so it should have. That is weird. Unless I was supposed to do it to this one, which I guess is a possibility. Now, one thing I don't like about doing it this way is this will no longer really be made for games. And the reason why, because this would run into the problem of having to... that is weird. So this would run into the problem of where you basically like have to worry about like the mesh cleanup and everything like that. So we're unable to do it that way, so we'll do it the original way where I was just going to select one or press one on the keyboard. And then we'll go into, I don't want to go into wireframe, I hate wireframe, but we will go into X-ray. So let's go ahead and select this. We're going to select these bottom edges. Going to do the same right here. Now I have these top edges selected. I don't really want them selected, and I can't do a shift select. You suck. But at least now I know which edges to select. So that's 3 from the edge, 3 from the edge. This one is 3 from the edge. Nope, not that one. Not that one either. If you're wondering what I mean by 3 from the edge, so this is a line that goes straight across. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's all I'm looking for, is just the edge that goes straight across the middle. You'll see I have the same thing selected up here. This one comes straight across the middle, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And basically I'm going to do the same thing here. So that right there is 3. And this one right here is 3. And then this one right here is 3. And this one right here is 3. Now this is a little bit more of a time-consuming task, but it alleviates the problem of having to go back through and it alleviates the problem of having to go back through and end up selecting or having to fix the geometry mesh. So all I'm trying to do is just make this a nice smooth curve. And I'm not trying to select this one on the bottom yet. I'll explain that here in just a second. So there we go, that looks like a nice smooth curve. So the reason why I didn't select this one on the bottom, because I actually want to go into face mode, which would be 3. And instead of selecting that one just like that, I actually want to try and just select all of these faces right here. There we go. Do the same thing for this. Now I know there is a way that whenever you do booleans, you can automatically have it fix the mesh. I don't know how to do that, but I know Blender, like, I'm actually really amazed with this software. I really am. It's actually really, really good software. So, kudos to the Blender team. Alright, so now that we've selected just the bottom faces, I know that we have this edge loop right here. I'm not worried about that because those actually got moved up earlier. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to extrude the region. And then all I'm going to do is just extrude it up like so. Well, first, that's what I want to do is I actually want to move it up just a little bit, but I'm actually going to scale it in. Let me move this back down. So I want these pistons to have a certain thickness to them. Probably right about there, I think. Right about there looks good. And so now I will extrude these up. There we go. And just scale these down real quick. So these right here, we can go ahead and delete these faces. You don't have to have them. If you want to keep them, you can. Up to you. But this will just lower the face count that much more. So right now we have 80 faces selected. Oops. And so we'll just click on faces and delete those. And yeah, it's not a whole lot, but with as dense as this model will be, every little bit helps. And with us going up that high, actually, let's go ahead and just bring this up the rest of the way. So we're going to select those, and we already flattened them out, so we're good. Actually bring these up. I'm going to bring them where they stick out of the piston just a little bit, and I'll bring them right back down. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to press 3 on the keyboard, and we're going to select these faces just on the top. So most pistons, they're not, well, there's actually a lot of pistons that are flat, but I'm going to do like a little indentation on these, just to give it a little bit more of a look, I guess you'd say. So I want to bring that right about there, bring that in just a little bit, click on the extrude, we're going to bring that down, and then let's go ahead and do another inset. Bring that in just a little bit. So I actually need to click on the edge loop because we didn't do this properly. So we're going to do edge loops on all of these real quickly. Oops. Bring that up. So now we're going to do this one real quick. And for the edge loop, sometimes you'll get this and you're like, where am I? Just go over the edge that the loop is going to be applied to. So I want the loop to go around this edge right here. So all I need to do is just hover the mouse over one of these edges right here that I know I want the edge loop to go across. And that's how I'm lining it up. Probably should have said that a lot earlier. Because for those of you who have been fighting with this tool, you're probably like, you could have told me that earlier. I'm going to kick your ass. And, you know, you're right to think that way. Alright, so we have those in set now. That is actually looking pretty good. That right there, that clears the piston just barely, just like we'd expect it to. This will rotate in the proper direction, just like we want it to. So if we come over here and rotate that, that looks good. Alright, so the next step is to... Oh, I didn't say this. Okay, you're probably wondering why I did not parent these. So these right here are going to rotate with the rest of the crankshaft. These right here are actually, it's not going to be a rotation. I mean, well, we could set it as a rotation, but we're not. We very well could put these in with the camshaft, or I mean the crankshaft, and have it rotate with the rest. The reason why I'm not wanting to, because this is part of the connecting rod, and so this is actually going to have a mesh component that's going to go straight up. And so this rotation will only be going up and down, up and down, up and down. And that will emulate the movement of the rotation for the piston rod, as well as whenever it's going up and down to the sides. So that's why I didn't parent that. But while we're on the subject, let's go ahead and make these a little bit wider. Actually, significantly wider. So this is going to overlap just a little bit. I'm going to move this right in the center. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, that actually looks good. I'm surprised I didn't have to move that one. Okay, this one I will have to move. So I'm going to move it just a little bit. Not much. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one now. There we go. So now these have like a nice little seam on them. And that actually doesn't look half bad. So now the next thing we want to do is we're going to go to Add, Mesh. We're going to do a cube. So our cube is going to be the connecting rod. So we're going to go into the X view. We need to make sure the width matches. It's actually going to be a fairly important step. I'm not going to say it's going to be super important, but it is going to be fairly important. So, yeah, it looks about right. Alright, so then we're going to go into the Y. We're going to press F to frame in on it. Now that is way too wide. I'm going to say probably right about there. So I'm not worried of the fact that it's sticking through. If you wanted to, you could actually bring this up a little bit. You know, something like that. That's actually what I'm going to do. So the next thing we need to do is actually take the top of this, and we're going to press 1 on the keyboard. We're going to go into this mode, X-ray. We're going to just bring this right up here. And we're actually going to also check to see if our wow, that sounded loud. But we're also going to do this to check to see if our what's it called? It's basically the I'm just going to use paint because this will be easier to explain. This is our piston ring, this is our connecting rod, and this is our piston. So right now our crankshaft is like this. When the crankshaft is like this, the connecting rod will be right here, and then the cube will be right here, and the piston will be right here. So we have this cutout right here, and we want to make sure that this is going to clear right here. And that's all we're going to be checking for. So we'll be checking for that here in just a little bit. If it doesn't clear, then that just means we need to bring these pistons down. Very, very simple. So we're going to press 4. We're going to click on this. And we're actually going to select, no, not that. We're going to select this piston and that. And we're going to select, it is fighting me. There we go. So we're going to duplicate those. We're going to move this stuff over. And the reason why we're moving this stuff over is because we're just going to check it real quick. So I'm going to set this rotation to 90. And I actually want to select, let's see, it's this, and this will be parent of that object. Okay. So this right here will be facing towards the center. That's all we're really doing a check on. So we need to go into X-ray. Let's make sure I have that lined up properly. I don't know if I do or not. Okay, so no, I do not. So that is okay. Just bring... come on. There we go. I'm going to say right about there. That should be good. So, I'm going to go into my rotate tool. That will be right there. We're going to bring the piston down right about there. Yeah, that should be fine. Because this would be half height right about there. Now, I'm looking at this right here where this is the lowest, this is the highest, so this line right here would be the half height. And yeah, we actually got plenty of room. I'm actually really shocked at that. Cola. Alright, so we know that's good. So all we have to do is just click on these, duplicate them across these other three, and we'll continue on. So I'm going to hit Control D with those selected. Or actually, I'm going to delete that. I actually want to parent these first to Object. And we will duplicate. Let's see. Did that parent transform stick with it? That one's good. That one's good. Awesome. It does stick with it. I was wondering about that. Alright, so now we just need to set these up the rest of the way. And to set them up, it's actually really simple. Basically, I'm just making sure that the top of this lines right up. Bottom of this will line right up. So I know I already have a piston ring there. Guess I could actually go ahead and just delete these because we no longer need them. I don't know why I call that a piston ring. It's not a piston ring. It's a connecting rod, Jimmy. Come on. Worked on cars for 8 years. You'd think I'd remember that, but obviously I don't. There we go. And so now I can just select both of these, Control D, and we're going to... I'm going to move this one over and line this one up first. That one looks good. Then I'll select this one, move this one over second. There we go. So there is our... And that's not lined up. There we go. So I'm actually surprised that doesn't line up like it should. That's actually an issue. It's not a big issue, but it's definitely an issue. The reason why that's an issue, because whenever it comes to setting these, we're actually going to have a difficult time doing it. So let's go and select all of these, and we're actually going to move these to the proper location. So move these down. So right now I'm looking right here where my mouse cursor is at. Just trying to line that up. So it looks like probably right about there. That should be lined up. So yeah, I don't know how I screwed that one up, but I did. Easy fix though. No big deal. And so now we have our pistons. The next step is to animate, and I'll see you in the next video.